I was standing in a stranger's kitchen at midnight. I was holding a drink I didn't want. And I was scrolling through my phone, looking for a better party. It started 3 hours before that. I had a plan for that evening. Soup, a book, and an early night. Then Emma sent me a photograph. A rooftop somewhere downtown. Warm lights, music, people laughing. She wrote, "Everyone is here. Are you coming?" I read that message 4 times. Everyone. That one word did all the work. I put the book down. I changed my shirt twice, which should have told me something. Then I took the metro across the city. The party was fine. That is the honest word for it. Fine. The music was too loud for talking. I knew 2 people there, and both of them were deep in other conversations. So I stood near the window and opened my phone. And that is where the evening actually went. Somebody had posted a picture from a small bar in the old town. 4 friends, 1 table, a candle in the middle. It looked quieter. It looked better. I started working out how long it would take me to get there. While I was working that out, a man beside me said something about the rain. I said, "Sorry, what?" He smiled politely and turned back to his friends. I lost that conversation before it even started. Around midnight I moved into the kitchen. It was quieter in there, and the light was yellow and kind. Emma found me by the fridge and asked if I was having a good time. I said yes. Then I asked her whether anything else was happening in town that night. She laughed, but not in a happy way. She said, "Alex, you've been at 3 parties tonight, and you haven't been at any of them." I wanted to argue with her. The trouble was that she was right. So I put the phone in my pocket and I looked around that kitchen properly. Somebody was cutting a cake very badly. 2 people were arguing about a song. Seriously, like it mattered. There was a real evening happening in that room. And I had spent it inside a small bright rectangle. I left at 12:30. I walked home instead of taking the metro. It took 50 minutes, and it was cold, and I remember all of it. I remember a bakery switching its lights on. I remember a fox crossing an empty road like it owned the whole city. Nobody posted a photograph of any of that. Here's the strange part. I hadn't wanted to go to the rooftop. I hadn't wanted to go to the little bar either. What I wanted was to know that I wasn't missing anything. Those are 2 completely different hungers. One of them can be fed. The other one cannot. And I do understand why the second one exists. We are told, constantly, that the good evening is happening somewhere else. It's a useful story if you're selling something. It's a terrible story to live inside. So now I do one small thing. Before I say yes, I ask myself a question. Am I going because I want to be there? Or am I going because I'm afraid of not being there? If it's the second one, I stay home. And most of the time, the evening I gave up was the one I actually wanted. A week later, a photograph made me feel like a failure. It was 8 in the morning and I was already late. I had slept through my alarm. There was old rice in the pan and there were no clean cups in the kitchen. I opened my phone while the water boiled. And there was Emma's apartment. Pale sunlight across a wooden table. Fresh coffee, a green plant, an open notebook. She had written 3 words underneath it. Slowed Tuesday morning. I looked at her table. Then I looked at mine. Then I did something I'm not proud of. I kept looking. Over the next 2 weeks it turned into a habit. Every morning, before I even got out of bed, I read other people's lives. A friend from school had bought a house. Somebody I used to work with was in Lisbon. Everyone was building something. And I was standing in a cold kitchen, washing a pan. I want to be careful here, because nobody was lying to me. The house was real. Lisbon was real. The coffee was real. That is exactly what made it so hard to argue with. You can't argue with a photograph. But a photograph isn't a life. It's a decision about what to show you. I learned that on a Thursday, in a cafe near the station. Emma was 20 minutes late, which surprised nobody. When she finally sat down, she looked tired. Not tired in an interesting way. Just tired. We talked about nothing for a while. Then I made a small joke about her slow Tuesday mornings. She laughed at me. She said, "Alex, that photo took 20 minutes." She had moved the plant twice. She had taken about 30 pictures and thrown away 29 of them. The rest of that table, she told me, was covered in paper and unopened letters. And then she said the part one keep thinking about. She said, that was the worst month I'd had in years. I needed one corner of my life to look calm. I had been comparing my ordinary Tuesday with her best 3 seconds. And I had been doing it every single morning, before breakfast, for free. So I made one rule. I didn't delete the app, and I'm not going to pretend that I did. Instead, I moved my phone charger out of the bedroom. It lives in the hall now, by the door. So the first thing I see in the morning is my own room. In whatever state it's in. The comparison didn't disappear. I don't think it ever completely does. But it arrives later in the day now, when I've got some armor on. And when it arrives, I try to remember Emma's table. Underneath that beautiful photograph, there were 30 unopened letters. There always are. In November, Mr. Lee asked me a question I couldn't answer. We were on the stairs outside our building. He asked how I was, the way people do. And I said, busy, really busy. I said it the way you say a grade you're proud of. Because that's what busy had quietly become for me. A score. That month my calendar was a beautiful object. Every square had color in it. A course on Mondays, a running group, 2 work projects, dinners, a language exchange on Fridays. I turned my screen around and showed it to him like a photograph of a child. He put on his glasses and looked at it seriously. Then he asked, which of these will you remember next November? I looked at that screen for a long time. I couldn't find a single one. Not one square out of 30. I said something about it being a strange question. He said, it's the only question. Now, Mr. Lee has tea on Thursday afternoons. He's done it since his wife died, and he invites me every week. In October I said no twice. In November I said no twice more. Every time I had a real reason, and every reason was true. That's the part that worried me later. None of them were lies. They were just louder than he was. Then, on the 3rd Thursday, he didn't ask. He said good evening on the stairs and went inside. That was worse than any argument. So the following Thursday, I canceled something. I honestly can't remember what it was, which is the whole point of this story. I bought 2 pastries and I knocked on his door at 4 o'clock. He opened it and said, "You're 3 weeks late." And then he went and made the tea. We talked for 2 hours. He told me about a summer job he had when he was 19. Painting boats. He told me his wife hated the smell of the paint and married him anyway. He said that in the end you don't remember your best years. You remember about 11 afternoons. I have forgotten every meeting I had that month. I can still tell you the color of those boats. Here's what I think I had wrong. I thought a full life and a busy life were the same thing. They're not even close. Busy is a shape. It's how many squares have color in them. Full is a weight. It's what stays with you afterwards. And you can be extremely busy and completely empty at the same time. That's a trick the modern week plays on almost everyone I know. I still keep a full calendar, and I like my work. But now there's one square I protect. Thursday, 4 o'clock, 2nd floor. It's the least productive appointment of my week. And it's the only one I'd recognize in a year. 3 stories, 1 mistake, told from 3 corners of the same year. Being everywhere is a way of being nowhere. A photograph is not a life. And busy is not the same as full. You've been listening to Slow English Listening. If this helped you, please subscribe, so the next story finds you. There's another set of stories at level 3 about 3 habits I tried to change. And I'll put it on the screen now. Thank you for listening. See you next time.